Hi everyone, this is Chandra with Intuitive Crafting. Welcome back. So, I want to talk to you today about creating heirlooms. I'm sure you've heard the word before, but let's talk about exactly what an heirloom is. An heirloom is a valuable object that has literally belonged to a family for generations. And there are various types of heirlooms. One is jewelry, another is furniture, and something else, something like an antique rug. So, and these are actually all things that my parents left to me, and I still cherish the items, and they've made a nice, very nice addition to my own personal sense of taste and decor. So sometimes people think of heirlooms as something that, might be a little um, gaudy or stiff or dated, but that's not always the case. So let's talk about what gives them value, though. The first one could be the types of materials used. A Obviously, a 14 or 24 karat gold ring is going to be a very valuable heirloom, and you know is something that anyone would want to have passed on to them. Another thing that makes an heirloom really valuable is the detail and the craftsmanship of the item. I have an antique, now it would be considered an antique, but a Persian rug. It's made of wool. It's very beautiful. I I'm I'm happy that I have it. So, um, but a lot of it has to do with the craftsmanship of the item. Another thing is simply sentimental value. It could be a matter of who made it, how it was made, the time period in which it was made, the country in which it was made. It could be any number of those things that make it valuable to the recipient of the heirloom. So, on this channel, I talk primarily about crocheting and knitting. And uh, these are two techniques that can produce wonderful, beautiful heirlooms, um, which could, include um, valuable materials used to make it. It could be valuable due to the craftsmanship of the item, or it could simply be valuable in terms of the sentimental value. Could be all three, could be one of those three things. It just depends on the type of person you are and what you value. So, one of the ways that we can make creating heirlooms valuable to you, the creator, and to your family and future generations is it's a really a great way to bond with your family. What I'm thinking of right now in terms of creating an heirloom is a quilt, like crocheting or knitting a quilt. These things are time consuming, and it's really nice if you can get your family involved in making it. If you're a mother, you have a daughter or son who likes to do these things, you guys can plan time around creating this quilt, this blanket, and you can decide on colors together. You can decide on design together, and the more you work on it, the more important it becomes to both of you, to all of you, if it's more than two people. So it's a great way to bond with your family, to pass on a skill or craft, and to create good memories with your family. Heirlooms also, they can add so much value to your estate. Now, some of us may feel like, well, have a I don't have a house, I don't have any fine jewelry to pass on, or you might have plenty of both. You might have all kinds of things to pass on to your to your family, to your children, to your grandchildren. The icing on the cake is always going to be something that you created that is beautiful and heartfelt. That will always make a big difference. And as things are being passed down, as things are being shared among different family members, a beautiful quilt could remind someone of how important the past generation is and was in their life. You know, crochet and knit items create excellent heirlooms. My grandmother used to be an expert quilter, and she could have, entered her work in competitions and different establishments, and she probably could have made a lot of money. But the problem for her was, uh, you know, the time period. Jim Crow, she lived in the deep South. She was a very humble person. She had already had other ways of making money, so she wasn't necessarily concerned about the monetary aspect of it. But she made beautiful items, and before she even passed away, you know, she had like this huge trunk of quilts and beautiful blankets that she'd made. And before she even passed away, those things kind of disappeared, as different people visited her. And, you know, that happens. But at least hopefully the people that have them are family members. And her work is just impeccable. And I do wish, I have a couple of pictures of some of her work, but it would have been nice to have been able to get, my hands on an actual item. So at any rate, it's the power is in your hands. If you want to, you know, bond with your family, start a tradition, pass on some value, some sentimental value, the best way to do that is to create some items that you can uh, pass on. You can share. I don't want to keep repeating myself, but really, I mean, think about it. There's so many different ways to enhance your life while you're still here with your family, and give them some memories they can cherish um, for a long time. So keep all of that in mind, and thank you for stopping by. Take care.